Hello everybody, and thanks for checking out my review of the Casio Protrek PRT-B70T-7CR with module number 5602. Now, special thanks to Casio for sending me this watch for review. Full disclosure, there was no request for a favorable review or approval before uploading it. Now, if you like this review, please click the thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified of future reviews. And please leave a comment below. I love hearing from you. Now, on to the unboxing. Alright, so to get into the unboxing, the first thing I'm going to do is you, of course, have the cardboard box with the green writing on the side. You have Casio on the front here, and then the barcode on the back. And opening up the box, you have an interesting piece right here. This right here is a link removal tool, so I'm going to go over that when I'm going over the watch. You have your instruction manual, module number 5602, and it's got multiple languages, of course. You have your warranty card, and you have the FCC, because this is, of course, a Bluetooth device, so when it uses radio signals, you have to get your warnings there. And on the inside, you have the harder box, and it's a hard one. It's kind of like a press board on it. You have the Protrek logo on the top, and opening that up, you, of course, you have the watch. Over the last few years, I've seen Casio coming out with better and better watches, and this Protrek is another example. There are some incredible innovations, and it works using Protrek Connect app, which I'll be going over. And Casio is starting to close the gap between the Protrek and G-Shock lines in regarding the strength and the features. Now, the PRT-70T has many features like fishing timers, quad sensor for altimeter, barometer, compass, and step count, and it's also got the tide, moon, sunrise and sunset, and a lot more that I'll be going over. The PRT-B70 has 200 meter water resistance. It's 57.5 millimeters by 50.8 millimeters, and it's only 16.8 millimeters thick. It's very light at 103 grams. It's got 6 buttons to access the sensors, modes, and LED light. The compass bezel rotates both ways. The case is resin and aluminum. The bracelet is titanium. The clasp is stainless steel, and it opens up with the 2 push button fold over design. Now, if you look at the case back, it's got these little bars over here by the lugs, and it makes it really easy to be able to change straps. So all you have to do is push the lug aside, and it releases the bracelet. And then if you see on the stainless steel back case, it's got plastic surrounding it, so this way it keeps it nice and comfortable, and then it's got the Protrek logo and some basic information on the back. Now, one thing I've really been appreciating about watch companies lately is they are making bracelets a lot easier to size. Now, Casio came up with this new system. It's got this little tool here, so you get this nub that's on the end, and all you have to do is push it into the hole on the link, and you can remove links very easily. So you push down, as you can see here, and it comes right off. And then if you wanted to put it back in, you just keep it down, and it comes right back together real easy. The dial is black with enough relevant information to be able to read the info without being too busy, and the LCD digital display is large enough, positive, and very clear. Now, the markers in the hands use lume, and the LED lights up the whole dial and digital display from the 6 o'clock marker. Alright, so to get into the manual settings on the watch, what you want to do is hold on to the top left button until you see your time zone. And you could switch 2 time zones and scroll up or down using the 2 buttons on the right. And then what you want to do is, if you want to get into the actual timekeeping settings, you'll see the seconds hand. You'll see that the seconds are blinking. So to reset the seconds, you just press the bottom left hand button, and that'll change the seconds for you so you can zero it out. And to go into the hours, you press the bottom left button, and that'll let you go up and down on the hours. Same thing for the minutes. And once they're set, then you could set the date, which is the year, the month, the day of the month, and that's it. So then you press the top left button, and the time is now set along with the date. Now, to get into the actual watch settings, You want to press the top left button again. Once again, it'll show you your time zone. And if you press the bottom left button, that'll get you into the mode changes. So you can change your daylight savings time to auto, on or off. Press it again, and you can change the key tone to mute or to sound off whenever you press a button. Press it again, and this will be your timer for the light, either 1.5 seconds or 3 seconds. And you can go into 12 or 24-hour display on the LCD. You can go into receive on or off, and that basically sets it to where if the Bluetooth is going to set itself automatically. The slope is an aggressive altimeter reading, so if you're physically running up a mountain and you turn that on, it'll basically read it more aggressively, it'll read it more frequently. To turn it off, that's if you're just using it to check the setting at any given time of the day. Then you can change your units, so you get your feet or meters, your barometer settings, your temperature settings, and then back to the timekeeping, and that's how you set the watch. Press the top left button again, and then it goes back into timekeeping mode, and then you can toggle through whatever you want on the time screen. Alright, so now I'm going to get into how you work with the application. So the first thing you're going to notice when you get into the app is it's going to tell you to press the right button here, and you're going to hold on to that for 3 seconds, and once the beep goes, now you're into where you can work with the application. So you'll see the connection happen on the phone. And now you're set up and you're ready to go. So the first little tab that you're going to notice on the bottom is the guide, and the guide will show you exactly how this works. So you'll see the tabs on the top there, so you can go through, and it'll give you actual instructions through the application on how to work with this application and the watch. Really handy there. So now you go on to the bottom section here, and you'll notice it goes into the fish menu, and this is where the fish timer goes, and it goes by tide, it goes by location, and it'll tell you the ideal times that you're able to fish during the day. So what you want to do is you want to go into all memory, and that'll tell you to save the settings for when you're actually fishing. No activity data right now. And then you can go into the fish point, and you'll notice I have a couple of locations set here. So if you want to add up to 6 here, you press the little plus button on the bottom of the map, and it'll tell you to press the point that you want it to go. So for instance, I could type in a city, so if I put in Point Pleasant, it'll give me the choice here, New Jersey. So I press Point Pleasant, New Jersey, the map automatically goes over to it. I touch the spot on the screen to where I plan on fishing, and it'll lock it in there. I set the location over to the watch, set the title here, Point, press done, set the location to the watch, and it's automatically set in there as another fishing spot that I go to. So now I go back, and I can go to the step tracker, and the step tracker will calculate on the calendar how many steps I've walked in a day. It helps you figure out how many calories you're burning. I wouldn't really call this a fitness watch, but it's just another little aspect of the watch that comes in helpful, especially if you do a lot of walking during the day. Now you have the world time, and I could change the world time easily. So if I go into world time itself, I could look up an area that I want to go to. So if I put Los Angeles or Las Vegas, for instance, I push on Vegas, map will go over there. I set the city over to the watch, and one thing that you're going to notice is as they progress, these watches and these applications work a lot quicker than the older versions of them. So now it goes over to Vegas, world time is set, and I could switch the time by pushing the middle of Las Vegas and New York. It'll automatically switch it over. I send the setting to the watch, and then you'll notice on the watch itself that it sets over automatically. Same deal, if I want to switch it back, switches them over, sets it on the app, send it to the watch, and same deal, it sets it up for me. Then we go into utility, and this is where I could put in the fish-in time alarm. And you can go into the about fish-in time, and it'll give you the explanation based on the motion of the moon. Every day there are 2 times when it's easier to catch fish, and 2 times when it's much easier to catch fish. These times vary depending on the position and the waxing and waning of the moon. So that is basically something that, from videos and reviews I've seen on this, it's apparently a very useful tool if you do a lot of fishing. And then you could set your alarms. So you could set them to on, and then it gives you a 24-hour clock on what time you want to set the alarm to. Once you set the alarm, you send it over to the watch, and it's one of the alarms that'll be set when you toggle through. Now you press the top right button, and you'll see the little gear. You press for the PRT-B70, and this takes you through the settings of the watch. So now you go into the tutorial, and it'll give you a little guide on how you can work with these modes. You go into the phone finder settings. This is where you press a button on the phone if you lose your phone to give you a sound. So for instance, 3 different tones that you can play with, and you can set the volume. You have operating check of auto time adjustment function, so notify once a week, and it'll basically tell you that it's connected with your watch multiple times during that week and when it was all set. On the profile settings, you can go in, you can set your height, weight, birthday, sex, and target steps. You can go in and change the units, just like you did on the manual settings of the watch, and once you set it, you just send it over. Setting is completed. Now you have the mode customization. In the mode customization, you go in, and this allows you to change the settings of which mode shows up when you're pressing that mode button. And once you're done, you can go in and change the fish mode buttons and tell you what's most important to you in regards to your fishing function. Send it over to the watch, and now that setting is automatically in there. And then you can change the display. Then when you go into the display area, this is where you're toggling from that main timekeeping screen. When you're pressing that setting button, this is what's going to toggle through, so this way you can decide what's more important to you, and then you can change it up and down as well. So this is yet another setting that I've never seen them use on a Casio. So just getting more advanced with these settings and these applications and these watches. You have your watch display settings, 12 and 24-hour format, barometric pressure mode, so you can go with the pressure difference between seconds or just when the pressure changes. Then you have an altitude mode, which is the same thing, altitude difference or how many seconds it takes to do the readings. You can set the operation sound on or off. That's when you're pressing the buttons. You could set the time connecting if you do not operate this app within a set interval. So if I'm not working with the application, it'll automatically shut down the connection to the watch 3 minutes, 5 minutes, or 10 minutes. You have your time adjustment, and it tells you when it adjusted the time with the Bluetooth, so you're always going to be accurate. You have your lighting settings, and that's where you have the auto light, where you can tilt the watch over to you and the light automatically lights, or you can set it up for 1.5 or 3 seconds for the duration that it's lit. You have the altitude correction settings, so all you have to do is go in there and you can manually correct if you feel like the altimeter readings are off. You have the altitude measurement interval setting, so this allows you to set it for 2-minute increments or 5-second increments. You just want to keep in mind that if you keep it on 5-second increments, that would affect battery life. You have your heading settings for the compass, auto correction on or off. You have your method of calculating calories, and it uses the air pressure while you're walking. You can adjust the home position, so if you notice that one of the hands are off, you can actually change where the hands are located on the watch, so this way you can make sure that it's aligned properly. You have your summertime setting for home time, so this is where you can set your daylight savings on, off, or auto. You have your fish point setting, and this is where you could choose what area that you want the settings to go to, and then set the location over to the watch. And then you have your fish settings, so this tells you the alarms and the timers. And that's it. Then you can disconnect from that setting as well, and you can also disconnect by pressing on the disconnect button on the right side. And that's it. That's how you work with the application and the watch. Alright, so here's a wrist shot, and as you can see, it doesn't sit too high. The flexibility with the sizing makes it really easy to work with, and it fits really well. Casio continues to push the limits. These Protreks continue to get better and better. They're offering more outdoor functionality between working with your phone to utilize GPS, the new fishing features, the better and more responsive sensors and user interface, and the materials used. This is far more advanced than the first Pathfinders and Protreks I've reviewed many years ago. The one and only thing missing on this watch is solar. If you like the outdoors and you like to wear a less chunky watch than a G-Shock, the Protrek line is ideal for you. What do you think? Now leave a comment below, let me know what you think of this watch versus other Protreks and G-Shocks, and I want to thank you very much for watching this review of the PRT-B70T. Now if you like this review, please click the thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified of future reviews. So I want to thank Casio again for sending this watch for review, and I want to thank you so much for your continued support. Stay safe, thanks for watching, and have a great day.